The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was filled with delegates from hundreds of alien worlds. The ceiling shimmered with strange, moving lights, and walls were made of a material that looked alive, pulsing softly with energy. Every seat in the chamber was occupied, and every alien face was serious, tense, and sharp with suspicion. At the center of the room, a single human figure walked in. His name was Marcus, a human diplomat, wearing a simple black suit and a crisp white shirt. Nothing about him looked threatening, or so the aliens thought. He moved with calm confidence, hands at his sides, eyes scanning the room politely, almost like he was greeting old friends. "Humans," whispered one of the council members to another. "They're too fragile to matter. Just another weak species." "Fragile?" another replied, her many eyes narrowing. "We will see about that. Today we will remind them of their place." The aliens didn't know that Marcus had already predicted this exact moment. He knew how the council thought, how they judged humans, and how dangerously underprepared they were. He had spent years studying every gesture, every protocol, every hidden trap in the chamber. Today, he was not just a diplomat, he was the human advantage in motion. As Marcus walked toward the center of the chamber, the council members whispered among themselves, eyes darting to the small devices hidden in their sleeves. A plan had been made. Quiet, efficient, one quick strike, and the human envoy would be gone. No one would ever know how fast it happened. Marcus paused for a moment. He smiled politely, his calm demeanor hiding the storm beneath. In his mind, he knew what was coming. And he also knew that once the first move was made against him, the council would be in for the shock of their lives. "Honored members of the Galactic Council," Marcus said in a clear, calm voice. His tone was polite, professional, almost gentle. Yet every word carried a subtle weight that made the room still. Every alien delegate instinctively leaned forward, listening. Behind their polite masks, fear began to grow. Some of the council members noticed the way Marcus's eyes moved, constantly scanning, calculating. Others dismissed it, thinking it was human nervousness. But there was a strange steadiness to him, like he knew exactly what would happen before it did. In the shadows, one of the council's most powerful delegates, a tall, blue-skinned alien with multiple arms, nodded at his aides. "Now," he whispered. "On him quietly, no witnesses, no mistakes." The chamber lights flickered. From hidden corners, small energy weapons rose silently. The aliens expected Marcus to freeze, to panic, to fall. But he didn't. He took one calm step forward, his eyes never leaving the council member who had issued the order. For a moment, everything seemed frozen. The lights, the whispers, even the pulsing walls. Then Marcus's hand moved just slightly, almost imperceptibly. A subtle shift, a stance that spoke of balance and readiness. Some of the aliens noticed it, and their confidence wavered. What is he doing?" one whispered. Another muttered, "No human should move like that." "Impossible." Marcus smiled again. This time, there was a spark of amusement in his eyes, almost invisible, almost too small to notice, but it was there. He knew what they were thinking, and it made him enjoy the moment even more. The council thought they had the advantage. They didn't. The first weapon fired. A thin, deadly beam of energy streaked across the room. Marcus tilted his head slightly, and with a subtle step, it missed him entirely. The aliens gasped. Shock spread across their faces. He didn't shout, he didn't run. He just adjusted his stance, perfectly balanced, perfectly calm. The room held its breath. Every eye was on him. The council, who thought they were about to kill a weak human, were suddenly unsure, scared. The diplomat in the suit was no ordinary human. Marcus took another slow step forward, eyes scanning the chamber once more. He looked polite. He looked harmless. And yet, in every small movement, there was a quiet warning. "Do not make a mistake with me." The chamber was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. The humans were not weak, and the council was about to discover the cost of underestimating them. The air in the Galactic Council chamber grew heavier with tension. Marcus's calm demeanor unsettled every alien present. His polite smile and slow, steady steps made them doubt themselves. They had planned everything perfectly, or so they thought. Hidden in the shadows, energy weapons shimmered faintly. Alien hands hovered over triggers. The council member who ordered the attack leaned forward, confident. "Do it now," he hissed. "No human has ever survived this." Marcus didn't flinch. He spoke, still calm, as though nothing was happening. "I came here for peace," he said, his voice carrying easily across the massive hall. "I will not stop being polite, even if you choose violence." The first shot fired, a beam of blue energy slicing toward him like a lightning bolt. Marcus's eyes followed it carefully. With a slight step to the side, almost graceful in its simplicity, the weapon missed him entirely. The beam slammed into the wall, leaving a sizzling mark. A ripple of shock passed through the council. Whispers spread among the delegates. Impossible, muttered one. No human should move like that. The council member snarled. Double the attack. Another wave of weapons appeared from hidden corners, pointing directly at Marcus. They expected chaos, panic, or fear. They got none. Marcus tilted his head slightly, his mind working faster than anyone could imagine. Each weapon's trajectory, each alien's movement, every possible strike, he calculated them instantly. He shifted his weight, ducked slightly, and with small, controlled movements, avoided each attack. It wasn't luck. It was precision. Every move seemed effortless, like he was dancing, but deadly. Then Marcus acted. He didn't fire back. He didn't scream or shout. He simply adjusted the energy flowing in his suit, a faint hum that pulsed under his calm exterior. A ripple of energy moved through the chamber, subtle, but strong enough to jam the council's weapons temporarily. The aliens froze, alarms blaring in their ears. Now, Marcus said quietly, almost to himself. His hand flicked, almost absent-mindedly. One by one, the hidden weapons deactivated or misfired. Panic spread across the council chamber. They realized they had underestimated him completely. The council member who had ordered the attack gaped. What is he? He whispered. His fingers trembled over another weapon, but it wouldn't fire. Marcus had already neutralized it. Marcus stepped closer to the center of the room. He remained polite, measured, calm. Every alien delegate could see the confidence in his posture, the sharpness in his eyes. There was no anger, no rush, only certainty. Some aliens tried to flee. Others tried to attack again, but Marcus's movements were too fast, too precise. Each attempt failed quietly, almost without a sound, yet with undeniable effect. The room's tension was unbearable, and still Marcus spoke. I am here to represent my people, he said, each word deliberate. I am here to negotiate. But you chose to strike first. That choice has consequences. The chamber went silent. Every alien could feel the weight of his words, the hidden power behind the calm exterior. For the first time, the council understood they were no longer in control. They had attacked a human diplomat, and now that human was showing them why that was a mistake. One of the younger delegates, trembling, whispered to a neighbor. He's not just a diplomat, he's something else. Something dangerous. Marcus didn't need to respond. The controlled hum of his suit, the subtle way he shifted his stance, and the faint glint of his eyes said it all. He didn't need to fight yet. The council was already realizing their error. The ambush had failed completely, and in the hearts of the council members, fear was beginning to bloom. Marcus remained calm, polite, almost courteous, but everyone could see the quiet power simmering beneath the surface. The humans were not weak. They were something far more than anyone had predicted. And the council's first mistake, striking without knowing, would not be their last if they didn't learn fast. Marcus took a slow breath. Let us continue with diplomacy, he said, or continue with chaos. The choice is yours. Every alien in the chamber froze. The tension hung like a storm cloud, heavy and unyielding. And in that moment, the audience could feel it too. This human diplomat was not ordinary. He was the storm, and the council was standing directly in its path. The chamber fell silent, the echoes of failed ambushes still buzzing in the air. Marcus stood in the center, calm as ever, his sharp black suit untouched, spotless, almost ordinary. But behind his quiet demeanor, a storm was quietly gathering. The council had made a mistake, a fatal one. One of the alien delegates, tall with green translucent skin and 4 sharp claws, spoke shakily. Hey, he dodged everything, how is that possible? Humans, they shouldn't move like that. Marcus tilted his head slightly, a polite smile forming. You assumed humans were fragile, he said, his voice soft but firm. That was your first mistake. He reached slowly to the collar of his suit and pressed a small button hidden under the cuff. The subtle motion went unnoticed by most at first, but in the next instant, the room's air shifted. The suit shimmered faintly, revealing layers of sleek, high-tech armor underneath. It wasn't bulky, it was perfect, fitted, almost like a second skin. Energy flowed along its lines, glowing faintly blue. A whisper of power radiated from Marcus, quiet yet undeniable. The aliens froze. This was no ordinary human. The council member who had ordered the attack slammed his clawed hand on the table. No, this isn't possible. Humans are weak. We. He could not finish his sentence. The words died in his throat as Marcus began to move, not aggressively, not yet, but with a precision that seemed unreal. Marcus's eyes scanned the chamber slowly. Every alien weapon, every defensive measure, every hidden trap, the diplomat already knew their location. He didn't need to look, he knew. It was as if he could see the chamber itself, the energy flows, the weaknesses in the walls, in their plans. You wanted to kill me, Marcus said softly, almost like he was lecturing a student. And you didn't even know who I was. He moved his hand slightly, and a subtle pulse of energy ran through the room. Hidden energy weapons sparked, malfunctioned, and went silent. The Council's elite soldiers could barely raise their claws or weapons without stuttering, their systems jammed by a power they could not identify. "'Tis human," whispered a young alien, voice trembling. "Hey, he's death in a suit." Marcus's lips curved into the faintest smile. Polite, calm, almost harmless. Yet it sent shivers through the room. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't screaming. He didn't need to. The room knew it. He could end every threat here if he wished. The council member who had ordered the ambush tried to regain control, his multiple eyes darting frantically. "Neutralize him, now." Marcus tilted his head, as if considering the suggestion, and then, with one deliberate step forward, he showed exactly why humans were underestimated. It wasn't just the suit. It was him, the human mind, trained, disciplined, precise. His calm movements controlled the space around him. Every alien who had tried to attack him felt the weight of their mistake in their very bones. The diplomat's presence alone shifted the balance of power. "You thought you could strike first," Marcus said, voice still polite, calm. "You thought humans were weak. You thought wrong." He raised his hand slightly. Not to fire, not yet. Just a gesture. And yet the council chamber trembled. Alien weapons short-circuited. Communication devices buzzed. Panic spread like wildfire. The Galactic Council, who prided themselves on strategy, control, and power, realized something terrifying. Marcus wasn't just a diplomat. He was humanity's weapon, humanity's intelligence, humanity's will, all wrapped in one unassuming figure. They had attacked a man in a suit, and discovered that the man in the suit could be their end. For the first time, every delegate in the room felt the truth. The humans they had underestimated, the species they considered weak, fragile, unimportant, were far stronger than they could ever imagine. And the Council's first fatal mistake was clear: never attack a human. Marcus stepped closer, his calm eyes scanning every corner, every alien, every weapon. "I am here for diplomacy," he said again, "but do not mistake politeness for weakness. Your next choice will decide if you leave this chamber in one piece or not." And in that moment, the Council understood something they would never forget: humans were never weak. They were the storm, and Marcus was only the beginning. The chamber was in chaos. Alien delegates scrambled to regain control, but their weapons lay useless, sparking or shut down completely. The council members' confident expressions had disappeared, replaced with fear, disbelief, and confusion. Marcus stood calm in the center, his suit still glowing faintly, energy flowing softly along its lines. He didn't move aggressively, but the room seemed to shift around him, as if his presence alone pushed the aliens back. Every step he took was measured, precise, and controlled. "You still have a choice," Marcus said, his voice calm but firm. "You can end this peacefully, or you can face the consequences of your mistake." A hush fell over the chamber. No one dared act. The first wave of energy attacks had failed, and now they were defenseless. Then, as if answering an unspoken signal, a low hum filled the room. The council members stiffened, eyes widening. From hidden panels in the walls, portals opened silently, revealing humans in advanced suits, armed and ready, moving with quiet precision. They were elite operatives, trained not only for combat but for diplomacy in dangerous situations. Humans who had long been underestimated, now standing tall and fearless. The council members' jaws dropped. "More humans?" One gasped. How did they?" Marcus raised his hand slightly, signaling his reinforcements to stay calm. "We came for dialogue," he said. "You forced our hand, and now you must face the reality of underestimating humans." The aliens tried to regroup, sending some of their delegates to flank Marcus, but every move was anticipated. Every weapon that raised, every plan that formed. Marcus and his team were already one step ahead. The chamber became a chessboard, with humans controlling the game entirely. One young alien delegate, trembling, whispered to another, They planned this. They knew every corner of the room." Marcus nodded slightly, not even looking at them. He didn't need to speak to communicate the point. Humans were always prepared, always adaptable, and never weak. The council had attacked a single diplomat, and had triggered a chain reaction they could not control. Another attempt was made. Energy beams shot from hidden corners toward Marcus and his team. He tilted his head slightly. With a subtle motion, a wave of energy pulsed from his suit, knocking the beams harmlessly into the walls. The humans moved forward methodically, neutralizing every threat without lethal force, proving their dominance while maintaining control. The council panicked. Their arrogance had crumbled. Their calculations, which had assumed a weak, helpless human, were now meaningless. Every delegate could feel it. Humans were far beyond what they had imagined. Marcus stepped forward again, closer to the council members who had tried to assassinate him. He didn't raise a weapon, he didn't shout. Just standing there, calm, composed, and deadly in control, he spoke. "This could have been peaceful," he said. "We did not come to fight, we came to talk. You chose violence. Now you see the result." One of the delegates, an elder with translucent wings, finally spoke, voice shaking. "Well underestimated, you humans. We will not make this mistake again." Marcus allowed a small nod. He didn't gloat, he didn't smile, but the room could feel the weight of human strength and intelligence. The council had learned their lesson, painfully and publicly. As the humans secured the chamber and disabled the remaining threats, Marcus turned toward the exits, signaling that the meeting would continue, but this time on human terms. The council was defeated not with anger or destruction, but with strategy, preparation, and calm dominance. The whispers spread quickly among the aliens. Never underestimate humans. Marcus stepped onto the platform calm and polite. "Let us proceed with diplomacy," he said. "But remember this, humans are not weak, and underestimating us is the greatest mistake you can ever make." The council members swallowed hard, glancing at each other, realizing that the humans they had dismissed as fragile and powerless were, in fact, the most dangerous and disciplined force they had ever encountered. And for Marcus, the human diplomat in a suit, this was only the beginning. Humans had shown their strength, their intelligence, and their resolve. The galaxy would remember this day, the day the council attacked a human diplomat and learned why it was their biggest mistake. The chamber of the Galactic Council was quiet now. The echoes of alarms, sparks, and failed attacks had faded, leaving only the low hum of Marcus's suit. The alien delegates sat frozen in their seats, every eye on him. Some dared not move, others looked around at each other in disbelief. Their carefully planned ambush had failed, their arrogance shattered. Marcus stood at the center, calm and composed, as if nothing extraordinary had happened. His suit no longer glowed strongly, but the faint pulse of energy reminded everyone in the room that he was always prepared, always ready. He was a diplomat, but not just a diplomat. He was a warning. The council member who had ordered the attack struggled to speak, his voice shaking. "We underestimated you humans. We thought you were weak, fragile. We were wrong." Marcus nodded politely. "You learned the lesson well," he said simply. "Underestimating humans is a mistake most species only make once." He paused, letting his words sink in. Every alien in the chamber felt the weight of the statement. Humans, in their eyes, had always been unpredictable. But now they realized the truth. Humans were not just unpredictable. They were intelligent, strategic, and far stronger than anyone had expected. Marcus walked slowly toward the council's central platform, hands at his sides. He didn't need to shout or threaten. His calm confidence spoke louder than any words. The council had seen his speed, his precision, his tactical mind, and the advanced tech of his suit. They had felt the power of humans without even needing to fight a full battle. "The galaxy has many lessons to teach," Marcus continued. "But the first lesson for you is simple. Do not underestimate humans. We are capable of far more than you imagine. And if you attack one of us, you risk the consequences." Some delegates bowed their heads, fear and respect mixing in their expressions. Others remained stiff, trying to save face, but even they could not hide their realization. Humans had not only survived an attack, they had controlled the chaos, neutralized every threat, and maintained discipline. Marcus looked around the room one final time. "Peace is always better than conflict," he said softly. "But remember this, humans are not fragile. We are resilient, we are clever, and we do not forgive attacks lightly." A ripple went through the chamber. The council members whispered among themselves, acknowledging their mistake. Across the galaxy, this event would become a story told for generations. The day a single human diplomat outsmarted and outmatched the greatest council in the known universe. Marcus stepped back toward the doors, signaling his team to prepare to leave. The humans had made their point without unnecessary violence. The council would live, but their pride was broken, and their perception of humanity had changed forever. One young alien delegate, still shaking, whispered to a neighbor, They are not just diplomats, they are warriors. They are humans." Marcus paused at the door, glancing back one last time. He allowed himself a small, subtle smile. It was not pride, not arrogance, just quiet satisfaction. The council had learned something they would never forget. Humans were not weak. Humans were a force to be reckoned with. And Marcus, in his calm, polite way, had proven it. As he stepped out of the chamber, the massive doors closing behind him, a quiet message spread among the council. Never underestimate humans. They are stronger than you think. And if you make a mistake, you will pay. For Marcus, this was not the end. It was a beginning. Humans had shown their strength, their intelligence, and their resolve. The galaxy would remember this day, not for the Council's arrogance, but for the calm, deadly efficiency of a human diplomat who had turned an ambush into a lesson. The story ended on a note of quiet tension and anticipation. The Council had learned a lesson, but the humans had only just begun to make their mark on the galaxy. And Marcus, the diplomat in a suit, would be the reminder that underestimating humanity was the galaxy's biggest mistake, and it was one they would never repeat.